All right, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining me, Julie, here for our TipRanks weekly webinar. We're going to be quickly going over a few things happening in the market. And our tool today is our Top Expert Center, which is actually a page I use a ton. So I'm definitely excited to be. Oops, sorry, just making sure everybody's muted here. Mute. Da, da, da. Okay, so today we're talking about the top experts page as well, which is one that I use a lot when I'm looking for some different inspiration. So we're going to go through a bunch of the different features there. This week in the market, we do have a couple exciting things happening. The last couple of days, the S&P 500 and the Dow have both been hitting new records. So you might remember at the very end of the year, as we were heading up to the end of January, we were getting really close to hitting those record highs. Well, we finally hit them now. We've hit them a couple of days in a row. So it's been a positive week as far as that goes. A lot of the buzz in the market this week has been surrounding earnings reports as we really start diving into that earnings season. We've had a few big names report already. Most notably, last night we heard from Netflix, and they're now currently up. I think it's nearly 10% this morning after they reported last night. They've been cracking down on all that password sharing, which I'm sure many of you know. If you were anything like me, we had to maybe get some family members to sign up for their own Netflix after many years of that password sharing. But that has helped Netflix overall. They saw an increase of 30 million subscribers, which was a lot more than the previous year. So they are well into the green this morning. Less positive news at the start of the week, we had ADM or Archer Daniel Midlands, I believe. See if I'm getting that right. They dropped over 24% on the news that they were going to be postponing their quarterly report and that they were also suspending their CFO amidst an investigation. And that had to do with their nutrition reporting segment and an SEC inquiry. So they have really been put on hold there while that investigation goes on and delaying that earnings report there. And today, all eyes are going to be on Tesla. They're going to be reporting in the after hours today. Of course, very popular stock. Everyone's going to be listening very closely to Elon Musk. Hopefully, some fun, exciting announcements. We always like the surprises, but we'd love to see those consistent numbers for deliveries and growth and income there too. So, in the after hours, we'll be hearing from Tesla as well as IBM and ending the week off with a couple big names with American Airlines, Visa, American Express, Colgate Palmolive, assume a bunch of those. And next week, it happens all again. We're going to be hearing from hundreds of companies from the major indexes there. So as we've been hitting these highs for the S&P 500 and Dow Jones there, hopefully we continue to see some positive earnings reports that continue to boost things higher. And in a global market scheme today, there's been a lot of headlines regarding China. So they just announced that the People's Bank of China is going to be lowering their reserve ratio requirements for the banks by half a percentage. And that decision is supposed to provide a 1 trillion in long-term capital, so help boost the economy over there. And there's some other stimulus ideas that they're floating around. So we're seeing a lot of Chinese-based stocks rising, kind of helping boost the world markets there as well. So you'll be seeing a lot of headlines regarding China this morning too. Now that is a quick recap of what's going on. We're going to jump into our top experts page here. So let me just pull that up. So top experts, obviously TipRanks, we're well known for ranking Wall Street analysts, but we do also rank other categories as well. So we're up in this top expert section here at the top. If you just click on that, it's going to take you to this main page here. So right now, I think we're over 8,600 Wall Street analysts that we rank, but we do also track financial bloggers, corporate insiders, hedge fund managers, and individual investors as well. And of course, that ranking system is based on their success rate, their average return, and the statistical significance. So, how many recommendations they're making. We're going to start off with the Wall Street analyst because this is probably the most popular page out of all of those categories. It's one of my favorite if you're wanting to really focus in on those top performing analyst ratings. So when you click on this, you're going to get just your list. We have the top 100 in a long, beautiful list here, and it's going to show you several different categories. Of course, their ranking, their name, which research firm they work with, the main sector that they cover, as well as their distributions. So we're going to see the breakdown of all of their stock ratings, how many of those are buys, holds, or sells. You can see a lot of people not making a ton of sell recommendations. So big breakdown there. Their average success rate, average return, and their followers as well. So this will give you an idea of how popular some of them are. We have Quinn Bolton here. He actually held the number one spot for quite a while and amassed over 126,000 followers on here. Some of the other guys catching up. And then on the right, you can also put if you want to follow that analyst. So what that means is that you're going to get updates when these analysts are making new recommendations. So this is an overall list here for covering the United States, but of course we can break it down by different regions as well. So if you're wanting analysts that just focus on Canada, or maybe with all the news here, we want to look at Hong Kong stock market, you can break it down by geography as well. We also have their success rate here just as a standalone, but you can compare it as a benchmark as well against the S&P 500 or their sector average. And we typically look at the past year, but you can break that down as well. So if you want to see who's been the very best over the last 2 years, you can switch that there. Or maybe you just want to see who's been on a winning streak lately and go a lot shorter with a 1 month period. We can always change that. And of course, look at the different sectors here. So we have our service sector, industrial goods, healthcare, technology, whatever you're wanting to really narrow in on. Now, of course, once you click on any of those analysts, you're going to get a further breakdown of their performance and all of their stock coverage here. You can expand it and see all those historical ratings that they've weighed in on the stocks and how the stock has performed. Now, going back to our top experts, like I said, we do cover a few other sectors here too. Another one that we love to look at is hedge fund managers. So this is going to rank these hedge funds on their performance as well. So only filter we're going to look at here is basically the assets under management. So you can see how big of a hedge fund that you're wanting to look at. If you're only wanting ones that are managing a ton of money, you can select that up here. If you don't mind a smaller boutique, you can look at that as well. But if we look at any, it's going to give us our list here. Any, and then you can sort by name and all of these as well. So if you still want to sort by assets under management, you can do that. It's going to show you their overall portfolio gain, the Sharpe ratio, and their average annual return. So we have ones here like Bill Gates that you can take a look at. And once you look at that hedge fund manager, once again, you're going to see the activity of that hedge fund or that trust. And you're going to see the positions that the hedge funds have been taking and how those have been performing, whether they've added or reduced or just held the same. And this is all based on those quarterly 13F form filings. So we get all the latest up-to-date stuff there. Now, another fun one, you might wonder, individual investors, how on earth are we tracking that? This is all related to our TipRanks Smart Portfolio. So that's up at the top here that you can look at. And it's going to track individual investors' performance as well and rank that. So if you want to upload your portfolio and get unique insights into it, you can also get a little competitive with some other investors there and see how you stack up. So it's going to rate it based on a few different factors. And you can see basically the average return, success rate, and portfolio risk, the different type of portfolios that they're looking at, and follow along with other people's smart investor portfolio. Another important one to look at is the corporate insiders. So this is showing us basically a variety of insiders. We either have 10% plus owners, senior officers, directors, presidents, CEOs, any of these big insiders. It's going to show you their transactions as well. So if we're looking at some of these companies, you can see if they've been buying or selling a lot and their different success rate and the company that they're associated with too. So in our top position here, we have Sun Valley Gold. And once you click on this portfolio, it's going to give you a bit of a breakdown here at the top. So they own over 22 million shares in this Galliano Gold, another nearly 58 million in the Gold Standard Ventures, all of their positions up here. And you can see how they've been transacting in these companies. And it'll show you whether it's an informative sell or informative buy. Or if it's a pre-scheduled one too. But then this way you can see the holdings of these insiders and how they've been performing as well. And then the last one I want to show you guys here, we also do the research firms. So this is a much more higher level of the firms that have these analysts looking into these stocks, but it helps give you an idea when you see some of those names in the headlines, which ones have really been coming out on top here. So if we're looking over the past year, the number one firm that has been coming out with the best recommendations here is Truist Financial, followed by RBC Capital, KBW, UBS, Raymond James, a lot of very well recognized names here. And once again, it's going to show you their rating distribution, so how many buys, holds, and sells, but it's also going to show you how many recommendations are coming out of these firms. So if we're looking at Truist Financial, we've had about 11,000 coming out of there, nearly 29,000 coming out of RBC Capital. But of course, that makes sense because it'll also show you the number of analysts. So we have 44 at Truist, 119 at RBC, 237 at UBS. So it helps give you an idea the kind of scale and magnitude of some of these companies that you see these analysts coming from, and it'll maybe give you an idea which ones you want to pay more attention to. If you see RBC analysts coming out with the rating, well, they've been near the top of the list, so that's one that you want to pay a bit closer attention to. So some really interesting insight there. And last but not least, we also do financial bloggers. So this is covering a lot of the popular stock websites. We have Seeking Alpha, Hot Cover, Motley Fool, all these different companies. It's going to track some of their bloggers, their opinions on the stocks they've been writing about, and how those have performed too. So a ton of information there. That is a quick oversight of our expert center. Again, that Wall Street analyst probably being the most popular one here. Oh, and I want to show you too, sorry. One more thing. If we go to My Experts, this is where on the right-hand side here, if you click on that following tab, you can see I follow a lot of these top 10 analysts. I like to stay up to date with what they're doing. Once you hit that follow button, they're going to come over to your My Experts. And this is where you can see a consolidation of those ones that you've chosen to follow you. So you have a few different columns here if you're wanting to look at. It's going to show you their details, whether you want email alerts coming in, and all the recent activity. So if I want to see, okay, this 5-star analyst here, here's all the most recent ratings they've been coming out with. Here's all the headlines that they've been making in the last couple of weeks, whatever's the most recent there. And you can also choose if you don't want to follow them anymore. So this is where you can manage all of your experts in one easy place. So that is our overview there of the TipRanks Expert Center. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let us know in comments on YouTube, social media later, which of these sections you guys like to use the most. We always appreciate hearing from you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me a bit here on this Wednesday morning, and we will see you again next week, guys. Have a great day.